Hi everyone, this is Miss Park, your favorite chemistry teacher, and I am recording this video for Wednesday, November 4th, our synchronous work on Bohr diagrams. Right, so in class, we took notes, or I went through notes where we reviewed where protons, neutrons, and electrons are. So on your own time, you should review these notes. And we started talking about the Bohr diagram and valence and core electrons. So I went through some examples in class, and I'm actually gonna redo some examples here in the video. So if you're watching this, hopefully this will serve as a review to see how a Bohr diagram or Bohr model works. Right? So Bohr model essentially is a model of the atom with a nucleus and with electrons orbiting around the nucleus. So we're gonna look at maybe 5 examples together in this video so that it helps you to do the rest of your work Thursday and Friday. So here we have lithium, and I already put the symbol for lithium, and I got the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons from the periodic table. And the next part is to color in. I provided a template for you to color in the number of electrons that you see for lithium. So I'm gonna get my highlighter, and it looks like I have 3 electrons in lithium. So I'm going to color 3 of the circles. So you have to start from the innermost shell. So we're gonna call these circles shells. So this is shell number 1. And shell number 2 is the next circle out, or next orbital out, whatever you wanna call it. So I colored in 2. So now we have to move to the second shell. And it doesn't matter where you color this in as long as it's in the second shell. So there's your 3 electrons for lithium. All right, so now we come down here, and the group number is the number of the group that lithium belongs to. So I'm gonna look at slide number 3. If I go back to slide number 3, I have this picture of the periodic table with their group number. So lithium is right here, and it belongs to group 1A. So I'm gonna go back and put that number. All right, so 1A. And when we talk about core and valence electrons, I will define it right here. I will define it in, let's define it in, sorry guys, red, so you guys can see it. So by core electrons, I mean the electrons in the inner shells of the element of the atom. And valence electrons are the electrons in the outermost shell of the atom. All right, so in this case, we have lithium has 2 core electrons because shell number 1 is the innermost shell. So I'm gonna write that down. Let's change that back to blue. Core, we have 2 core electrons. And then we have 1 valence electron. Right? There's only 1 electron in the outermost shell. All right, so let's move on to our second example here, beryllium. The information already is filled out. So we have to color in 4 electrons, and I'll use a different color this time, red. So we're gonna start from shell number 1 and then work our way to shell number 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's 4. And notice how I don't color in right next to the electron. And that's because the rule is here. You want to color in each side of the atom first before you pair them up. So let me show you. So instead of coloring in the 4th electron right next to the 3rd, this is wrong. You want to skip it because you want to give each side of the atom at least 1 electron before you pair it up. And you'll see in the next examples. All right, so I'm going to erase this so it looks nice. So for group number, you're going to look at the periodic table. And beryllium is in group 2A. So let's go and put that down. Oops. 2A. And it has 2 core electrons. 2 core. And it has 2 valence, right? The outermost shell has 2 electrons. So that is your valence. All right, let's move on to our next 2 examples here. All right, we have boron and carbon. So boron has 5 electrons. So I'm going to color in 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3. So it doesn't matter where I start. 3, 4, 5. So there's our 5 electrons for boron. Group number for boron is, if you look at the periodic table, it is 3A. But I'm just going to put that down here. Oops. And core electrons is 2. As you can see, there's 2 in the innermost shell. And then we have 3 valence. Outermost shell has 3 electrons, so that's your valence electrons. All right, let's do carbon. Carbon has 6. So I'll change it up here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so that's 6 electrons. And notice I don't pair up the electrons, but you'll see in the next example when I do pair up. So carbon, if I look on the periodic table, is right here, right? It's group 4A, so I'm going to write that down. Group 4A. Core electrons, innermost shell has 2 electrons. And valence electrons, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to write that down. All right, so we just did 4 examples. I'm going to do one more. And I'm going to erase this. I'm going to do one more. And then hopefully you guys can get the hang of how to do Bohr models. All right, so here we have nitrogen. I know that the symbol for nitrogen is N. And if you want to double check that, you can look at the periodic table. And let's look at the periodic table actually. And nitrogen is right here. It is number 7 on the periodic table. So that means it has 7 protons, 7 electrons. And then the mass is 14. So the number of neutrons is 14 minus 7, which is also 7. So let's go back and write all that information down. I'm gonna use normal fonts. So we have 777. All right, so we have to color in 7 electrons. So let's use yellow. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice now I gave 1 electron to each side, so now I'm okay with pairing 7. All right, so group number nitrogen is 5A. You would have to look at the periodic table to know that. And then the core electrons, we have 2, because that's 2 innermost electrons. And the outside, in the outside shell, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's put 5 electrons, valence electrons. All right. So we just did 5 examples in this video. So hopefully you are able to kind of see the pattern and do the Bohr diagram that was assigned to you during class. All right. Hopefully this video was helpful. And if you have any questions, you can always email me or text me, and I will try to answer as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.